Hey man, you ever notice how some guys walk into a room and women just look? Not because they're loud, not because they're flashy, but because something about them makes women wonder, who is that? That's not luck. That's energy. That's presence. That's mystery done right. And it's the beginning of something powerful, curiosity. But not the shallow kind, the deep, magnetic, slow-burning kind that makes her mind spiral without even knowing why. That's what you're going to learn today, how to trigger her curiosity without even saying a word. See, in a world where everyone's oversharing, constantly posting, and trying too hard to prove themselves, mystery becomes magnetic. The less you say, the more she wonders. The less you react, the more she studies. And the more grounded and unbothered you are, the more she feels this weird pull toward you. Because you're not trying to win her attention, you already have your own, and that's rare. Start with your eyes. Yeah, your eyes are your silence's loudest language. When you look at her, don't dart away like a nervous kid, but don't stare like a creep either. Let your gaze hold still just a second longer than normal. Not enough to make it obvious, but just enough to say, I saw you, then look away, not in fear, but in calm confidence. That second, that pause, triggers a loop in her brain. She starts wondering, why did he look at me like that? What did that mean? Now let's talk about your body language. Most guys try to look big or try to be invisible. You do neither. You stand still. You move with purpose. You take up space without apology. Your posture is open, but not needy. Your arms aren't crossed, but you're not fidgeting either. You're grounded, still, calm. Like a man who knows who he is and doesn't need to prove it. That kind of presence makes her lean in, because it's rare, because it's real. Next, your silence. Silence isn't awkward unless you make it awkward. If she's talking and you're just listening, like really listening, nodding slightly, absorbing, she feels seen. And then when you speak, you don't fill the air. You say something meaningful, or you say nothing at all. That contrast creates impact. And that silence between your words, it gives her space to wonder about you, about what you're thinking, about what you're not saying. That's where curiosity lives. Your vibe has to match this energy. You walk in like you have somewhere better to be, but you're present while you're there. You're polite but detached. You smile, but not constantly. You laugh, but not too loudly. You engage, but don't chase. You exist in the room, not above it, not beneath it, but with complete self-possession. That's the kind of energy that lingers, that stays in her mind when you walk away. And let me tell you this, the less you give, the more she builds. Women are creative, emotional, subconscious. When you don't spell everything out, they fill in the blanks with their own imagination. And if you've done this right, if your energy is confident, collected, and composed, what she imagines is 10 times more powerful than anything you could ever say. Because here's the truth, words are easy, but energy doesn't lie. You want her curious? Make her feel you before she even knows your name. Make her wonder why you're not trying so hard. Make her question why your silence speaks louder than every guy talking over himself to impress her. That's how you flip the script. That's how you stop chasing and start attracting. You don't need lines. You don't need tricks. You just need to master your stillness, your focus, and your detachment. That's how you become unforgettable. Not because you chased her attention, but because you made her work to understand you. And once she starts wondering, it's already too late, because now she's thinking about you, without even knowing why.